the part of the session that I know that all the married couples have been, or the married sisters have been waiting for. What would you say is the secret to having a long, loving, fulfilling marriage as Muslims? What is it that you feel, in the 15 years that you've been married so far, you can share with those of us who are, coming up behind you? And what would you say, you would like to take into the next 15 years, inshallah ta'ala, of your union? So because for me, I also know that there are different seasons in marriage. There are different levels in the marriage where you're, getting to know each other, establishing your values, the kids come, the sacrifices come between working and not working, and, in and out and all of that good stuff. So, what is it that has sustained you for the last 15 years? And what is it that you feel you're both working on for the next 15 years? Because that will be a different season for you. So, yeah, I would love Brother James to start, and then we will end with Sister Zara.
I mean, I would say the key thing to sustaining your marriage and having an amazing marriage is just this. Realize that in this very moment, as you hear my voice, you have the ability to have a miraculous marriage in the mold of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In this moment, regardless of what happened in the past, whatever it is that you are going through, how overwhelming, underwhelming this marriage may be, in this very moment, as you are listening to my voice, there is a path for you to attain that marriage. But it starts with you. It starts with your intention. And so what really, to me, and what this book offers married couples is that all actions are but intentions. What I love about this hadith, and obviously, as many of you know, this is the first hadith in most books of hadith. Sahih Bukhari, Muslim, 40, Nawawi, this is because it always starts with the intention. But what does, right after that, the Prophet ﷺ says, and each individual, and to each what they intend, right? And then the example that he uses is an example of marriage, right? He says, and whoever wants to marry for this world, that's what he will get, right? And so what does this mean? But Muslims, we have misunderstood this hadith as to mean, oh Allah, I intend to get married, and that's it. That is not what an intention means. The intention is the force that propels action. And whatever force that propelled you to do an action, in this case to get married, or in this case to look into your marriage if you're already married, is what's going to come out on the other end. The energy that you intended with is what's going to appear on the other end. So if I'm getting married out of fear of being single forever, if I'm trying to reestablish my intention in my current marriage out of jealousy of another couple, that's what I'm going to get on the other end. And so that was a long-winded answer just to say is that right now is a time to create a miraculous, every instant is a time to create a miraculous marriage. And that it starts with the intention, just intending to do that and believing that you can have that. That in of itself will make more difference than any and all tactics combined that you see in communication books and marriage books and language books and all of these things that are, again, in the tactic realm. If you want to go to the spiritual realm, that's where it starts. All actions are about intentions. I am going to have an intention, not that I utter with my tongue, but rather that I feel in my heart that compels action. And I want to purify that to renew my intention in my marriage constantly. And that every person that's on this call know that Allah will not withhold a miracle from you. Why? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given Fir'aun, the worst tyrant in history, a wonderful wife in Asya, who is mentioned in the Quran, by the way, for the history to remember until eternity, right? She's mentioned in the Quran. That's how magnificent she was. And he gave her to a horrible man, a horrible tyrant. What I'm saying is that if this man had the opportunity, he did not seize it, of course, he squandered it. But if this man had the opportunity to create an amazing marriage with this historically influential woman, all of us can. All of us can have a miraculous marriage. And that's the point of the book, is for you to believe and know that Allah has that for you. Marriage is not something that you have to endure. It's not something that you just do. This is a means of suffering. And, in Jannah, I'll find my house in Jannah with my hunk. all those things. Like at the end of the day, it is really about the here and now and experiencing the love of Allah in your current marriage, not have to endure it.
Alhamdulillah. Sister
Okay, what
Dara.
I would say, yes, for anyone currently married or at any stage, is to just look at yourself. The key is to look at yourself. The other indicator, as we were talking about before, of like someone not being a good fit for marriage is like blaming others. It's because of this. It's because I never saw a good marriage. My parents were divorced, or my parents were always fighting, or I was an orphan, or whatever. We want to look at the circumstances, blaming situations, and that's why we are. If only they would do this differently. If only they would help with this. And so the key to a thriving, successful marriage and life in general is to look at yourself. How did I contribute to where I am? What were the decisions I made that led me to be here? What were the times that what was the things that I said? What were the things that I didn't say? What were the things I was just hoping for and praying and wishing in the night, but not taking any action on? If you stay focused inward and are constantly trying to heal and grow and challenge yourself, you will constantly elevate your life. And you also want to define that based on how you feel, right? So it might not reflect outwardly. If you're like, oh, my marriage is not working because, we don't have enough money, or my marriage is not working because we're living in this place I don't like, or because his in-laws are, his family is always involved, or my family is whatever. If you're looking for those things to change, just note that those things might not change right away on the outside, but you could start to grow and heal and evolve so that those things don't bother you as much. And when you're no longer as triggered by these external circumstances, that is your marriage improving. That is your life improving, because we think that, oh my gosh, I'll just be happy when, all of the governments do the right thing and everyone has money and that's when I'll be happy. But it's not the case. It's you get to choose to be happy, right? The Prophet ﷺ is reported to have been meeting people with a smile and being the most smiley person that people had seen. We always saw him with a smile. He was living in some desperate, horrible conditions sometimes. People out to kill him, people killing his followers, and here he is smiling. He's in an inner state of God is with me. I am at peace. How am I healing and growing and getting the guidance to heal and grow, so that his state is one of, the hadith of like the wondrous affair of the believer. But no matter what happens to him, right? It's good. It's good. And so when you stay in that state, you will see your life elevate, because you internally will elevate. And then eventually those things will kind of fall into place by your evolution. But the key is to look at yourself and challenge yourself to do the hard things, right? To set a boundary, to speak up, to say, I was hurt. That really hurt me. That did hurt me. Your mom said that you didn't say anything, like that made me so sad, right? We're sometimes like just these, we don't appreciate that we have control to change the situation. And by us expressing how we feel, what we want, what we need, what we desire, can make our situation better. We are praying to Allah, but then not telling anyone else that, like, you know what, I want Sunday off, or I want you to take me on a date, or we're just hoping like, will we get the hint? I left that flyer for that thing, or I said, if it's possible, maybe on the weekend, if you're not free, can we? And then they're like, oh no, I am busy. Like, oh man, I never get to go. We never get to be like the other couples going on dates. Girl, ask for the date. I'm planning a date. I want to go on a date. Ask for what you want. Like, how are you contributing to not getting on, doing the things you want to do? You have to appreciate, how am I contributing to this? Your life is not just happening to you. You are either participating in it or you're sitting on the sideline whining and complaining and being sad. And so that key can support you so much, because it'll empower you to realize, oh my gosh, there are things that I can do to make my life better, as opposed to waiting. Especially as Muslim women, we've been trained to be the good girl, right? Be the good girl, do what you're told, do what you're supposed to, and then inshallah, Allah will give you everything. And so we're sitting around taking care of others, not saying, not being offended, blah, blah, blah. And then wondering why, well, how come I'm not getting any of the things that I'm praying for? Because that's not the way it works. That's the way we've been told so that no one has to deal with our wants. But let them deal with your wants. Tell them what you want.